Oh, is it nice to be back? Hey now, everybody. It's the Rob from 106.1 KISS FM. Of course, reunited, and it feels so good with my tag team partner in podcasting, the wonderful Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Here's how long it's been. Hey, Rob. Happy 4th of July.
It has been that long. And not only that, I can't imagine that this is true, but it is. We haven't spoken even off the air, whether we're talking about Facebook message, text message. We haven't spoken since our last podcast.
Well, vacations usually give us an opportunity to catch up with more than just wrestling. We talk about life. But your last 2 weeks, my vacation before yours was at the beach with friends, so I couldn't talk. And then your vacation was to the farthest thing from a vacation. Yeah. I have bought a house before. I know the first house as a couple, you were working your tail off.
Dude, absolutely. And I'm talking about endlessly for the past 2 weeks. It's been nonstop cleaning, scrubbing, mowing, grouting, painting, moving. And like the sad thing is, the part that really blows my mind, I can't believe we've only slept in our new house, which we've had for more than, I guess it's going on 3.5 weeks now. We've only slept there 3 nights. It's only been good enough to sleep in for the past 3 nights. And all of our stuff, okay, well, we moved everything Friday, but most of our stuff is still in boxes. It's crazy.
Oh, it's never going to stop. And what's funny is I've seen photos of your home, and it's not a money pit. It's not a fixer-upper. It wasn't a house that needed to be flipped or remodeled. But you're with a woman that is very similar to the one I married.
I'm dating the money pit.
What'd you say?
The money pit's what I'm dating, not the house.
Right. I'm married to a money pit. I came home from a broadcast the other night. It was our night to relax. The whole pantry had been ripped to shreds because she was painting it. I was like, really? That's how they operate. And before you know it, you're going to walk in someday. There's going to be no evidence that you even live in your home outside of like your shoes in the garage. And it's going to feel like you fell asleep one night and woke up inside a Pottery Barn catalog. That's
Well, here's the thing. So like we spent, a little over a month trying to find the right home for us. And there were some that I liked that typically as a rule were a bit bigger and more spacious, but needed a lot more work to get, started or whatever.
Sure.
And one of the things I liked about this house, although it's smaller than some of the ones that I liked, Brittany said this house wasn't going to need any work. This one was already ready to go.
Well, work is building. You didn't have to build anything. You just had to paint everything. You had to make it your own.
Jared, we didn't start painting until the second week.
What have you been doing?
We're patching holes. We're caulking holes. We are changing the grout we're cleaning the grout on the kitchen. I mean, it was the whole first week was preparing to paint.
Dude, I'm telling you, when did I really stop playing video games a lot? When we bought a house. Any free time you have, you're going to be cutting the grass. You're going to be cleaning. I mean, the house, you have to maintain it. You're shoveling snow.
I'm just having this is not the right time to be having this conversation. Not when I'm about to jump off the bridge. I can't stop playing games. It's part of my life. But here's another thing, and I needed to talk to you.
Before you jump off the bridge, could you paint it?
Well, here's the F, man. Like
I love watching you be domesticated. It's my favorite thing ever.
The stove that we have that's in the new house works completely fine. 100% fine. Not a thing wrong with it. If I had to give a letter grade to the stove, it'd be an A. Why do we need a new one?
I give it a B+.
Why do I need a new stove?
You need new appliances. My wife didn't do that right away. But we bought the house, and the way that it worked is like we were like, well, we can ride these appliances for a while, and then And then in December, the microwave went. And then a week later, the oven went, and then the dishwasher went, and then boom, 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 and then you're like $8,000 in because nothing costs less than $1,000 anymore.
Well, we've been pricing stuff, and I don't know. It seems like some of the stuff's okay, but
$5,000. I bet a stove that you're going to get is $5,000 at least.
Yeah, no, the one we're looking at is more than $5,000, correct? And we need a new fridge that's also more than $5,000. Microwave isn't too bad, but we got to get a lawnmower. The one we have now is a cheapie. It's not a mulching. It doesn't have a bagger, so it just leaves the grass. It just makes it look worse than when you cut it.
Do you want to push, or you're going to do a ride on?
Push. We don't really need a ride on.
You can get a good push mower for a couple $100 unless you're me. I spent $600 on mine because I'm crazy about my yard, and someday you might be too.
Well, the one on so man, I don't want to make this all about a house. This is supposed to be about wrestling. We'll talk. Let's talk off
There's no time to watch wrestling anymore, Rob. You have to paint.
Well, that's one of the things I needed to talk to you about. I don't know if I can watch Raw tonight. I don't have cable. Cable's not.
Welcome to my world, you son of a bee. This is what I deal with every week. I'm like, I can't watch SmackDown tonight, or I can't watch. I'm staying up till 2 in the morning to watch a pay-per-view because the kids won't go to bed, and you're giving me crap for skipping women's matches, and now you see that I have no choice, and you're coming to the club.
I'm not giving you crap for skipping women's matches. I'm giving you crap for skipping women's matches and then giving D- pay-per-views A-minuses.
That was one pay-per-view where I watched 3 matches and I gave it an A.
Right, yeah. If you skip all the crap, yeah, you're going to give a show a higher grade than I am. So there's that. So I have to decide, do I want to come back to the office here at work and watch Raw in the studio, or do I just want to let you recap me? Provided, can you watch Raw tonight? Like, will you catch all of it? Like, will you watch? Like, you should be able to watch it.
For the most part, yeah. There's never a Raw. There's never a Raw where I watch all 3 hours. But what I do is I'll fast forward through some of, like, if Kurt Hawkins has a match, I'll fast forward through the match. I never fast forward through the promos or the vignettes. Some of the actual matches themselves, I'll skip through. So you'll get all the highlights.
Okay, well, maybe because when you described the one time I was in Florida, you kind of recapped me pretty nicely. It was like this Braun Strowman Raw. And yeah, I thought that maybe. So if I don't know if I'm going to watch Raw tonight or not, because it will require me coming back to work for more than 3 hours. And that's just, I don't know.
Way, speaking of Braun Strowman, my favorite line from Great Balls of Fire was a Braun Strowman covered in blood, staggering away. And you just hear, "Leave me alone." He sounded like a sad Bigfoot heading to the forest.
We should let's start with Great Balls of Fire, even though we're a week late.
We're late on everything. Austin Aries gets released. I mean, there was a lot of news that happened.
How about the Donald Trump thing? Trump tweeting a GIF from WrestleMania 23 of him beating up CNN.
I loved that. I thought that was funny.
How amazing is this? This is just so amazing.
I just love that the president of the United States has been stunned.
They put CNN over Vince McMahon's face from WrestleMania 23, and it's like it's the top news story of 2 weeks ago.
I know. Wrestling's all over the place. I think it's great. Let's go to Great Balls of Fire. I'm glad we didn't do a prediction because I would not have fared very well.
I don't remember. I don't even know if I gave it much thought. I'm curious as to what like your letter grade might be from Great Balls of Fire, because my review of it is kind of interesting, I think.
It's been a while since I watched it, and I didn't give it a letter grade in my head because I knew we weren't doing the podcast. Although I think I would have given it a solid B or a very high C grade. Like I enjoyed that pay-per-view quite a bit. I was curious. We're getting later and later into the pay-per-view, and there's no main event. And I'm just like, are they going to do another 3-minute Brock Lesnar match? And I'm going to be annoyed. But I'll give them credit that the 7 minutes of wrestling, the 12 minutes total that they gave to the main event was really good and enjoyable and made both men look really strong. So
wow.
I liked it.
Okay, well, I want to agree with you and disagree with you on some things. First of all, I agree with the letter grade. I would give it a C or a C plus. So it seemed like we both can agree on a high C, maybe.
High C to a low B. Like if we put it in a B, I'd have no reservations.
But my recap goes like this. It was the opposite problem of like every other B pay-per-view this year. And what I mean by that is, so my complaint usually is like, think of any SmackDown pay-per-view or even the older Raw ones from this year. My complaint is usually that the wrestling is really good, but nothing usually happens, or it feels like a SmackDown, or there's no water cooler moments, no storylines progress. That's been my typical complaint of B shows, which is why I typically give them low marks. And also they have really awful builds. This show had the opposite problem to me. To me, it was a show I was really excited for. Raw did a fantastic job for a month building this into a show, despite its terrible name, that I really wanted to see. I really cared about Brock and Joe. I cared about Enzo and Cass, although I wish they would have waited a month till SummerSlam.
That whole thing was a little confusing to me. I don't know what their end game is with that, or how they're going to build a star out of Enzo when they bury him, and they blew that one off quickly. It's a little too quick for my.
That's my big complaint there. And then I like Iron Man matches. I thought that was a cool concept. So, and Roman and Strowman, I was excited for their ambulance match. So they did an
Iron Man match. They get all the credit in the world. They never stopped moving. I mean, there were no breaks for those guys. That was 30 minutes of really great wrestling. Like I enjoyed it, and I thought the finish. Somebody described Iron Man matches in the WWE as, I just don't like knowing when the finish is coming. And so there's a big finish coming in 30 seconds. They're going to do a big finish because that's when we run out of time. But other than that, like, they're
used so sparingly though that I actually think that was my favorite match of the night, to be honest with you. That tag match.
It was a very good match. You know what I'm going to pick, because that's just how I'm built. I like the ambulance match.
But I have to be honest with you. I disagree on your assessment of the main event. I did not like Brock and Joe very much. It started off really good, I thought. I hated the finish. Not that Joe didn't win. That's not my problem. It just felt that F5 was like out of nowhere, but not. It just didn't play into the story of the match to me.
It was the most predictable out of nowhere ever, because I even said I was watching it. I watched it on Monday. I didn't get to watch it on Sunday, and I watched it on Monday with my son. And I said, "Oh, here comes an F5," and then boop, F5. You could just tell the way Joe was positioned with the Coquina clutch that he was going up on the shoulders.
Yeah, and I guess when the F5 happened, it just didn't feel like the right time for it for me. And the finish felt really flat, at least in my opinion. I liked those moments where Joe looked strong and Brock looked weak.
I like how Joe just, as soon as Brock turns around to mug for the cameras, bang, attack, out of the ring. I liked that within 30 seconds of the match starting, we're going to do it. And then they could call it, and I was like, oh God, are they going to do like a total non-match here? And I thought they might, and push it to SummerSlam. And then Brock just smiles, and then they start, and then Joe goes at him, and then Brock fights back, and Brock sells the Coquina clutch better than anybody else. He turns purple.
Yeah.
I liked it. I didn't mind the finish. It made them both look strong. And I think the next night on Raw, you didn't need Roman Reigns in that ring, but Joe and Brock, when they butt heads with each other and they get in each other's faces, and man, I hope it continues. And I think it's going to. I think that you're going to see Brock and Joe in one form or another at SummerSlam. I just think Reigns will be involved.
I'm having a hard time remembering what happened on Raw the next night. I know I saw it, but I can't remember much that happened.
So the next night, Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar come out, and Kurt Angle's in the ring. And Kurt Angle wants to talk about SummerSlam. And they're about to leave, and Roman Reigns comes out. And Roman Reigns comes out.
Oh, yeah, I like this. You're right,
Roman Reigns comes out to the ring, and he's, blah, 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 blah. And then Samoa Joe comes out. And Samoa Joe, and I like how Brock Lesnar took the mic from Paul Heyman. He doesn't talk very much. And when he does, he knows it's not his strong suit, and he only does a little. He's like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I'm not going to fight you, blah, blah, blah. And then Joe comes out, and he was like, I'm going to bring you back to reality. And Brock's like, the reality is I kicked your ass last night. And then Brock starts swearing like crazy. And then Samoa Joe's like, blah, 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 and then Brock gets right in his face. And then they're head to head like that. And then Roman Reigns is just kind of standing there. And I like when I think my line of the night was when Brock Lesnar looks over at Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe stops mid-sentence and goes, you look at me when I'm talking to you. And I was like, what the hell? This is great. And so now you're going to have Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe tonight fight for the #1 contender spot. And there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to see Braun Strowman show up. And my prediction is at SummerSlam, we're going to have a fatal four-way.
Interesting. I don't know if I agree with that, but that's interesting. I will say, when we had there he goes. So when we had the Raw in Evansville, we had a Joe Roman match, and it was awesome.
Can I say that I feel if today was December 31st, I would give feud of the year to Reigns and Strowman.
That's not crazy. I'd have to think about it, but we talked about this in a previous episode, one of our more recent ones, and yeah, they are on fire. Their matches are surprisingly good.
Talking about it fires me up. And Samoa, I don't know. So you didn't like the main event? Do you like where they're headed? Do you like Joe and Brock staying in the same program?
Well, yeah, I liked that. The promos felt logical to me, in that, like, Brock was like, "Why should I fight you? I beat you last night." And to Roman, he's like, why should I fight you? The guy I beat last night beat you the week before, kind of thing. Like, it all felt logical to me. I just know I don't want to see Roman as champ. I don't mind.
And the one guy that I think has a claim to the #1 contender shot won his match at Great Balls of Fire and wasn't on the show on Raw, and that's Braun Strowman.
Yeah, no, I think he's got a very logical claim to the title as well. So I think that you're right. And then I will say, I think my favorite segment of wrestling post Great Balls of Fire was, did you see the battle rap?
Yeah, I did.
Between the Usos and the New Day.
Yeah.
I really see, this is why live is so much better than taped. Like, that was so awesome to me in like an uncomfortable kind of way. You know what I mean? You made us all believers, and nobody knew who you were until your wife put you on Total Divas. I love that line. No, it was the rated R, like your boy Xavier Woods. Oh, that was a good one too. That's gotten cut out. They won't let that be aired. And that's got Alberto Del Rio all fired up, wanting to beat everybody up involved in the segment, and they're a mess. The Paige and Del Rio thing. I haven't been up on I'm about a week behind on my wrestling news, but I do know a little bit about that, and I enjoy. Even though it's like, it's still so weird to me that, like, they still had a hard time making their raps rhyme. Like, they can't get their stuff down sometimes. Yeah. But I did that segment. I really enjoyed that. Yeah. If we're on SmackDown now, I'm curious what you thought about the United States title changing hands at a house show. Not a big fan, but, from time to time, I think you can do that. I don't know why that happened. And I believe the match at Battleground is now off. It was so weird. I commented to Brittany, we're watching there's AJ feuding with Kevin Owens over the US title, and there's Jinder Mahal feuding with Randy Orton over the world title. And I just feel like they've got this backwards. Yeah. I feel like Jinder and Orton, people are kind of uninterested in, and should be the secondary title. And then you've got the real main eventers. I mean, Orton's over the hill now as far as interest goes, not as far as age and ability, but as far as interest goes, no one's interested in him anymore.
He doesn't move the needle. He's boring to a lot of people, and that's just the truth.
And then you've got Jinder, who really is at that phase in his career, whether you like it or not. I know he's the world champ. He's still on the upswing of his career. If we're going to, believe he's a world champion caliber performer now, he's still on the uptick. He's at that U.S. title phase of his career, not the world title phase of his career. So I do wish that those titles were reversed, because AJ and Kevin Owens have proven that they are main event caliber performers at this point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Although I like what they're doing with Jinder Mahal, and I like Jinder Mahal as a champion because he definitely has the look. He's bad. He's not tested. Here we go with a Punjabi prison match, which I have yet to see one of those that's any good. And you're putting him and Randy Orton in a match together that, like, are you going to really have Jinder Mahal beat Randy Orton 3 pay-per-views in a row? Okay. I'm okay with it, but I just don't see it happening.
They found like the one stipulation that can make this less interesting than just a third match.
Yeah. The Punjabi prison, it's a cage match with bamboo, right?
Kind of. There's like 2 cages. It's weird. It's not good. It's just, it is what I don't even know how to.
Who did Randy Orton tick off? He's getting House of Horrors, and 2 months later he gets the Punjabi prison match.
What else? Is there anything else worth mentioning?
I heard at SummerSlam he's going to have a match with Judy Bagwell on a forklift.
Viagra on a pole.
But it's on a pole, you see. But it's on a pole.
Here's the thing, though, with SmackDown. They've got a pay-per-view, I think, this weekend, don't they?
Yes. So we're going to do a prediction show on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah. I can save this for later, but the build for this pay-per-view has been bad. Like Raw just had this great build for Great Balls of Fire. SmackDown just spinning their wheels. They're not moving anything forward. It's the same feuds we had the last show. I mean, it's not working for me, and I don't think it's working for a lot of people. It's
because it's the same thing they ran into right before the Royal Rumble, and it's the same thing they run into before these big shows. They're waiting until they're trying to get this out of the stinking way so they can start booking for SummerSlam.
Yeah, but this is the problem with so many pay-per-views between A shows. I mean, like, man, they're killing me with this.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I agree.
So I don't know. I know we'll have an episode tomorrow. It will either be us talking about Raw or Jerry explaining Raw to me, depending on what I decide to do.
Well, tonight we finally find out what's going on with those text messages. Tonight's the night we learn all about Kurt Angle and what the hell's been going on. I've seen some rumors. I will not spoil them for you, but
What have you heard?
Well, Eric Bischoff kind of let it out of the bag that it's going to be. I've heard 2 things. I've heard the Eric Bischoff one where it's going to be Dixie Carter. And that he's having an affair with Dixie Carter. I think that they're going to run into a problem where the WWE universe as a whole doesn't know who that is or know why it's important. And the other one I heard is it's going to be Stephanie McMahon.
That's the vibe I got. Like I said, I've been off the news sites for a week.
It would make sense because they've been talking about the end game is to have Angle have a match at WrestleMania. And it just makes sense. Angle Triple H it'd be a good one.
I heard SummerSlam a while ago.
Well, I think that would be a little rushed, but then again, they broke up the most popular tag team in the WWE and blew it off in a week and a half. So Who am I to say?
What did you think of that? Since we have a little bit of time here, what did you think? I thought that the Enzo and Cass match was, even though it was dull and boring, I kind of liked it in that was the way it should have been booked. I thought that, really, to be honest with you, Enzo shouldn't have gotten any offense in, and he didn't. Right.
Well, and the Raw leading up to it, I thought not only did Enzo cut the best promo I've ever seen him cut.
Enzo?
The past couple weeks, the Enzo promos I thought have been awesome. They've been very shoot-like. They've been very realistic. They've still been him, but less cartoony. Like I like when he said, "You're a one catchphrase. You're 7 foot tall and have catchphrase that I wrote." I like stuff like that. And then I love how he finally snaps. They cut the cast who's in the back, and you count to 30, and Enzo's on his back, punching him as hard as he can, trying to take him out. And they fight a little bit. They didn't give me enough of that before you finally get the match, but I thought it was good. I keep hearing that Enzo doesn't have a good standing in the back. And
which one?
Funny.
Which one?
Enzo. And people are saying that Enzo's not liked in the back, and this could be bad for Enzo. But that man sells so much merchandise. You can't tell me that Vince doesn't see him as a draw.
Oh, no, I think Vince absolutely sees him as a draw.
People are like, I've been listening to podcasts, and it's been interesting. They're all just like, well, I think he's going to be gone. I think they're going to end up getting rid of him. And I think they're drunk.
Who have you been listening to lately? I've been listening to some podcasts. Well, one specifically. God, I got to tell you, the best wrestling podcast, notwithstanding this one, is Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. Oh my God. I need to start
listening to that one. I've been listening to The Brand. I've been listening to Vince Russo a lot, and I don't agree with everything he says, but man, I do like listening to him talk about wrestling.
Agreed. I do like that one. He's good for talking about the current product for the most part. Bruce and Conrad, they go way back, and I listened to about a dozen of them, I think, on vacation. And I just think that it's just so fun to listen to. They're so good.
I'll have to start listening to that. Vince Russo, he hates Kevin Owens, and
yeah, he does.
I don't know why, but I kind of get it, but I agree with him on a lot of guys, but not on Kevin Owens.
I get it for him. Not that I agree with it, but his complaint about Kevin Owens is the same complaint I had about Kevin Owens when he first started, is that he does not look special. And I still, now even this far into it, I still agree with that. I know 3 guys in my personal life who aren't wrestlers who look just like Kevin Owens. And
I'd easily be Kevin Owens for Halloween.
Yeah, that's the thing. So like that's I think his jumping off point. That's where he's having a hard time getting on the Kevin Owens bandwagon. But for us, like he convinced me. And like just to be fair with everything, like there's a lot of guys I've been cold to or needed to be warmed up to, and like Joe is another one. But when they get me, I let you know. I don't just stick by my guns. I let you know that, hey, guess what? Over the past month, Joe made me a believer. That started happening with Kevin Owens very early on as well. It just I'm not saying these guys are bad when they come in. I'm just saying, convince me. I'm going to give you an honest opportunity. Convince me. Owens has. Joe has. Balor has not yet. I don't think Balor's bad, but he hasn't convinced me that he's as good as everyone says he is.
That's because they haven't given him a compelling story yet, and he has yet to bring the demon in. Like, he doesn't have a good story. You know, at this point, Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins couldn't keep my interest. Like, they're not giving these guys compelling stories.
Yeah. So, okay, anything else you want to mention before we sign off today? I appreciate you being on the podcast. We might have a 4th one this week.
Yeah, we might have a ton of them. Yeah. So we're going to do Raw tomorrow. It's either going to be I reenact it or we recap it.
Now I'm kind of salivating for a reenactment.
And then SmackDown will either be a reenactment or we'll watch or we'll recap it, because I now know your new life is you're never going to watch wrestling again.
Well, it's really, if I had cable, I'd be watching tonight. It's not a too busy thing specifically, even though I am too busy to watch it, I would still do it. And there's a chance I'm going to have cable in time for SmackDown. So
what time did they say they get there? Between 2 p.m. and next month?
They just said Tuesday, but I had this feeling something's going to go wrong.
Okay.
So we'll see. And like I said, if I have a rough night or I can't see myself coming back to work to watch Raw, but I'll see.
I wouldn't.
You're probably right.
Yeah, I mean, why would you? Just live your life. We'll make it work. We're going to make it work tomorrow. My shirt is so unbuttoned.
It's hard for me to see because you're over the icons, like for all the people in the room are leaving your cleavage kind of invisible, unfortunately. If you move to your right. Oh, there you go. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, there it is. That's what I'm talking about.
My heaving bosom?
That's the ticket right there, bud. I'm just gonna sign in. I wish I could zoom your camera.
I'll just do this for you.
Thank you. You just
it's been a while, so might as well just soak it in, right?
Let's just let it marinate.
By the way, I've been shaving my armpits. Tomorrow I'll tell you why.
Well, consider that a cliffhanger, because I'm totally compelled now. All right, then. Tomorrow we're going to find out what happened on Raw and why Jerry is shaving his pits. We'll see you then.